Hello and welcome to T Money Talks. In this week's episode, T Money's going to talk about their trip to Seattle. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hello, welcome back to another episode of T Money Talks. And yes, folks, as you heard, we are going to be talking about my trip I just had to Seattle. Was it a good time? Was it a bad time? Was it the time of my life? Did it change everything for me? Did it ruin my life completely? Am I forever not the same? All those questions and more will be answered on this episode of T Money Talks. I'm just kidding. I'm having a wild time. We're having a wild time. I've had a wild time. I've had a wild day. I think before getting started, I just want to say I am recording this on Monday. This is kind of strange because I normally edit T Money Talks on Monday mornings and then I will upload it and schedule it on Monday so I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week until it comes out, and I post about it everywhere, and then that's the routine. I record Sundays or sometimes Thursdays and then I edit on Monday and then I upload and then the day is done and then T Money Talks is over with and I don't have to think about T Money Talks again until Thursday or Sunday or whenever I choose to decide. However, because my trip to Seattle, I came back on a Sunday, I thought I was gonna have the energy and all the time to talk about my trip to Seattle on yesterday night, and I was wrong. I mean, I could have, if I'm being honest. If we're being real here, I totally could have done my podcast last night, but I was just lazy and I was tired and I knew I needed to really rest, so I decided to give myself the day and I was like, you know what, it's fine. I'm just gonna record it tomorrow, which is today, Monday, and then I'll edit it on Tuesday and upload it, and it'll be fine. As long as it's done before Wednesday, everything's okay. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm not stressed out about it. It does feel a little bit weird, but I mean, it is what it is. I wanted to. Okay, I'm going to talk about my day before we talk about my trip to Seattle because, yeah, why not? Because my today was not that great and, well, let's just talk, So I woke up, I wasn't feeling too well, but I was like, I know I had to do T Money Talks and I'm like, I always feel better after doing that. So I was like, maybe I should just get it done in the morning, because I had nothing else to do in the morning since I wasn't editing the podcast and no one was home. So I definitely could have just gotten it done and then probably edited it tonight and still gotten everything done in one whole day, which would have been insane, but I know I could have totally done it if I wanted to, and I should have. However, because of how I was feeling, I thought, yes, let's record vocals. This would be a great, excellent time to record some vocals. Perfect time to record vocals, especially for my EP, because I have one song that I'm like, I feel like I could sing it better if I wanted to, even though it sounds perfectly fine the way it is. Yeah, I messed up today, folks. I messed up today. Because of how I was feeling, I thought it was a good idea to record. I went to my computer, busted out all my stuff. The universe gave me so many signs to be like, hey, today's not the day to record. Let's not do this. So many signs were given to me that I should not have recorded today. But I ignored all of them because even while I was setting up my mic stand and my vocal shield and everything, things were messing up in ways that it normally doesn't mess up when I want to record, because whenever I record vocals, I have to be in the mood for it. I have to feel it. The time has to feel right, And even the process of setting everything up, everything has to go smoothly. It has to feel good. All the vibes have to be there, And the vibes weren't not necessarily not there, but no, the vibes were there, but things were happening that things weren't going so smoothly. And so since things weren't going so smoothly, that should have been my first red flag that, hey, maybe you're not in the mood to record vocals, But I was like, no, 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 no. I'm feeling like this is how I should feel for this song. This is the energy that the song needs. No, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. But anyways, I continue to set up my mic stand and everything, bust out my recording, start practicing. I start to practice with the track so I know the words and I remember how everything goes. I right away was like, ooh, no, that sounds horrible. Let me warm up my voice. I did vocal warm-ups. I never do vocal warm-ups. Whenever I'm ready to sing, I'm just, boom, it's there, it's ready to go. It's like, all right, let's do this. But no, I was like, let me warm up my voice. I've never done that before, and that could do great things for me, I'm sure. And so, whatever reason I do the vocal warm-ups, even doing the vocal warm-ups was difficult. I was having a really hard time. I was like, that should have been red flag number 2. Hey, T-Money, maybe you should stop recording vocals. It's not the time. Let's just stop here while we have everything saved as is, as it was, But no. I continued on with the vocal warm-ups. I continued on with making sure everything was set up and ready to go. And then eventually, when I was done with my vocal warm-ups and felt like I was ready to record the song, I did. And I didn't take that. I do like it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm also like, I'm also not in love with it. I am also not in love with it, and I kind of messed up the song now, and I'm kind of upset about that. I've kind of ruined the vocals for the song because after I recorded the vocals this first time, like today, I was like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good. Let's use that for the new one of what we have. And so I do that, and then I don't know why I didn't think to just put the old vocal tracks, put on different tracks in the file and muted them. But no, I erased them, and then I don't know if my computer just auto-saved it or if I might have saved it myself, but then I ended up losing the original recording, original vocals recording I did on my songs. And so now I no longer have the original vocals for the song, and I now am forced, yay, I am now forced to redo the vocals for the song. Now, I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds like I did really dumb and I really messed up, and I'm trying, and I know I did, but I'm trying not to look at it in that kind of light. I'm trying to see it as like, you know what, even though I'm not in love with the vocals I did today, it is a lot better than the ones that I did before. However, though, I have learned that I need to find the balance between the two vocals that I've done, between the vocals I did about 5 years ago when I was younger, the energy and the vibes of the song. I need to take that and take what I did today, because what I did today was good. I liked it. I just wasn't in love with it because it wasn't the vibe for the song. But it is the improvement in vocals that I am looking for the song, because that's what this whole EP is about, is me showing the growth and just the growth in my music and my voice and everything for my songs. So still want my vocals to sound the way they did, the way I recorded them today, but I also still want the vibe of the very first recording. So now that I know that, I can, not tomorrow, but whenever I feel ready and called and I wake up and I'm like, yes, I'm ready to record, let's do this, then I know, okay, I want to find the nice balance between showing I have improved vocally, but also staying true to the vibes of the original vocals. So I am trying to slowly learn how to manage my anger and how I get upset at things, but never mind, we're not going to go there anyways. But yeah, so I was like, I could have really let that ruin my day, and it did bum me out that I totally totally didn't. I didn't think to save it as a new version of the song. I wasn't thinking in the moment. I wasn't thinking, and then so I lost the original track. But it's okay. It's all right. It's not that big of a deal, because either way, this is what I'm telling myself, because this is to be true. This is what is facts. I had already been thinking of re-recording vocals for that song. I had already had plans to re-record those vocals, because although I liked them, I was like, my voice now, I know I could do it better, but I just did it a little too good, where it's like, the way the instruments are, I was like, I'm going too much. It's a bit too good vocally for the instruments, and it's like, it's definitely more of a laid back indie vibe for the voice, so that's what I kind of gotta find the balance in. But anyways, let's talk about my trip to Seattle. Yes, how I finally went to Seattle, Washington, the place I have always wanted to go since I was a child. Why, I have no idea, but yes, I have finally gone. I went with my friend, and I had a good time. I had a really good time. I did not get to do everything that I wanted to do, and that sucks. We didn't have time to do it all, but the things that we did do, I'm really glad that we got to do. I didn't get to ride a ferry boat. I know. That was the one thing I wanted to do, but it's okay. It's okay. Because it was very cold and it was raining pretty much every day we were there. So it was a good thing we didn't ride a ferry boat, because riding a boat in the cold and the rain, it just does not sound like a good time. Riding a ferry definitely sounds like a springtime thing to do. So I'm okay that we didn't ride a ferry boat, but we did go to Pike Place Market. I saw the Space Needle from the freeway. And I don't know the actual place of the city in Washington, but it's the place where they filmed Twin Peaks. We went to the place is also known as Twin Peaks, Washington. We went to the Double R, it's called Tweed's Cafe. I should look it up. I should look up where Tweed's Cafe is, so I could not say we were in Twin Peaks the whole time, even though, like, we pretty much were. We were in Twin Peaks. Tweed's Cafe, come on. You know what I was looking for. They're closed right now. In North Bend, yes. Tweed's Cafe in North Bend, Washington is where we spent a day out. And I just have to say, just landing before I get too much into the trip, I just want to say, just landing from the airport, landing into Seattle was just so beautiful. I fell in love with Seattle the second we landed in the plane, just looking out at the sky, watching all the trees and just the greenery, and it just looks so beautiful and so greenery, and just greenery. It just looks so green, just greenery. It just looks so amazing. It was so beautiful, and the trees, oh my god, the trees were so giant and so beautiful, and I just wanted to wrap my arms around them and just stare at them for hours, and it was just the greatest time. I loved the environment. It was so beautiful there. I loved Seattle, even though it was so cold that it hurt my foot and my wrist that I fractured in the accident. I on the second day, my wrist and my elbow were just killing me. I was like, what on earth? I couldn't understand why my wrist and my elbow were hurting so bad, because I didn't do anything that would have made my wrist and my elbow hurt. I wasn't lifting anything. I wasn't throwing a ball, or I don't know what I would have done to make my wrist hurt the way it did, but it hurt so bad. I wanted to cry. Sometimes it hurt. And then I realized when I came back home, when we got off the plane, as soon as we got off the plane, my foot and my wrist both suddenly stopped hurting. And then it didn't click with me right away. It clicked with me when I was almost home, on the car ride home, and then it hit me. I was like, my foot doesn't hurt. My wrist doesn't hurt that bad. what the heck? And then I was like, no way. And then my mom was like, what? And then it registered. It registered in my brain the cold, because it was like in the 30s and 40s the entire time we were in Seattle. That cold, I finally felt the aching pain that my doctor and people tell me about when it rains, that you get in the metal, when you feel in your bones, when you have metal in your body, or after you break a bone, and they tell you, oh yeah, you can tell when it's rain because your bones start to ache. Yeah, I felt those aches, and let me just say, I am not here for those aches. I cannot do that, because the pain I was in, I was just like, please just take my arm. Someone take my arm. I can't do this anymore. But aside from that, I try not to let my arm ruin too much of the trip. It was mostly my foot that ruins most of it, if we're being honest, because of the cold, and because it hurt my foot, and because I just recently had been able to, I just reached my goal of being able to stand and walk for 2 hours before needing to rest, So because of that, because I'm still like walking and like relearning everything, and like regaining, no, not relearning, while I'm regaining my stamina in my foot and for walking and standing, as I'm doing all that, it's really hard when there's more circumstances coming, that when there's other circumstances, because like when we're here, when I'm home in California, because it never gets below it never gets below 60 degrees in California, so I'm not used to that kind of cold. When my doctor's like, oh yeah, the first winter is always the hardest, I was like, dog, winter in California is nothing, so when I felt the real pains and everything they were talking about out in Seattle, out in Washington, I was like, oh yeah, that is intense. That is very painful, And so that kind of like made me not be able to walk as much as I would have liked to. So we didn't get to go see as many things, because everywhere you parked, because we rented a car, and everywhere you had to pay for parking. So so imagine driving around and then paying for parking 10 different times. That's insane. So we tried to do our best of parking somewhere that was in between everything that we wanted to do, so I could go like as far as I could go before I could tap out, So that was kind of what held us back from doing a lot of stuff, which sucked a lot, because I'm like, I wish I didn't have my foot to hold me back from things like this. And I know I shouldn't be upset at myself or at my foot, because I have come such a long way in my healing process. Like, to be able to even stand for 2 hours is insane. I used to get tired. I used to get winded after 5 minutes of walking. I'm now back to 2 hours of walking. That's insane. That is insane. And it is insane that I don't recognize that more often. So when I was out in Seattle beating myself up that I'm ruining the trip because we don't get to see as much as we would like, because like my foot, it's like I should be proud that I even was able to do as much as I did do, because in all honesty, if I would have thought it through and looked past just the opportunity of being able to go to Seattle, because it's somewhere I've always wanted to be, or I've always wanted to visit, I could have been like, you know what, realistically, it probably wouldn't be the best idea for me to go, at least in the winter time, because of how cold it was and how much it did affect my foot, because I think had we gone in the springtime and it was a little bit more warmer, yeah, I definitely still would have been exhausted every night. But when I think back to Joshua Tree, I was able to last walking like the entire day, but that was because it was always hot. Like, it was steaming outside, so my foot my foot wasn't in pain because it was aching because it was so cold. It was just in pain because I was just walking so much, so that's why I was able to handle so much more in Joshua Tree, whereas in Seattle, since it was so cold, it was really hard for me to be able to get around. because it did affect my foot so much. And I feel bad because I wanted to do so much more. I wanted to see as so many more things than we did. But because of the rain, because of the cold, because of so many other things, it was just hard and it sucked. But I still had a really good time. I still had a really good time no matter what. I am very proud for how far I was able to walk and for how long I was able to do it. In that weather, in those circumstances, it was insane. But anyways, aside from that, yeah, we went to Pike's Place. We went to Pike Place Market, and it was the first day we got there, it was closed, and I was like, oh man, like everything was like closing up. I was like, dang, we missed like the fish throwers and like all the vendors and like all the stuff, and that sucked. But it was okay because like we ended up walking around downtown Seattle for a while, and then realized what my cousin's boyfriend was saying when he was telling him about the homeless population like increasing in Seattle, as well as the YouTube videos that did inform me as well. I was more well prepared. I was like, oh yes, they did prepare me well. They were very accurate in their descriptions and whatnot and all that jazz. So after nighttime, I was a little nervous for us because I'm like, there's a lot of people that are, not so, we don't know what can happen. Let's get somewhere safe is how I felt. But anyways, and then on Friday or Saturday, one of the days, we went to, oh my God, what did I say? Tweets Cafe was North Bend. Yeah, we went to North Bend. We went to Twin Peaks, Washington, to Tweets Cafe, to the Double R. We had breakfast there because that's where they filmed Twin Peaks. For those of you who watch it, it's a TV show. It is amazing. It is phenomenal. I think I would recommend it. Not to everyone. Definitely wouldn't recommend it to everyone. I would not recommend it to everyone. I would recommend it to certain people. I mean, I would suggest it. I would suggest that you all watch it or check it out. But I don't know if it would be for everyone, that's for sure. Because even for me, it took me quite a long time for me to watch Twin Peaks after a friend of mine told me to watch it. But I'm glad I did watch it. It was really good, and it was so cool to be eating at the Double R. Although the food, not so. You could tell people you're really going there for the. You're really going there if you're a fan of Twin Peaks. Let's be honest. However, though, there is one waitress. I think she's the only woman who works there, who isn't so friendly. She's not about the vibe. She's not about the Twin Peaks vibe. It feels like she's very much trying to not be the Double R, and I'm like, ma'am, this is everything you're looking at says Twin Peaks. This is the Double R. We are in Twin Peaks, Washington. And you cannot deny what you are. Like when we were there for breakfast, she was playing country music. She was playing Taylor Swift. I was like, why am I sitting in the Double R? Why am I sitting in the Double R listening to Taylor Swift? I should be listening to the Twin Peaks soundtrack. And it was kind of sad that we didn't. But it's okay because after breakfast, we overheard the waitress telling a couple where were other places to check out. So we checked out the waterfall that they filmed that they used for like cut scenes in Twin Peaks. We went to that waterfall that was really cool. It was really beautiful, and we both learned. Because as we parked and there was no rain, it wasn't raining, but it was very cold. And then as we started to walk closer to the waterfall, there was like, it looks like it was raining, and we were like, is it raining right now? And then I like checked my watch, and I'm like, it doesn't say it's raining. It would say if it was raining. And then we realized how close the waterfall is from the parking lot, like across the street. And so as soon as you like cross the bridge across the street, you're already being hit with mist from the waterfall. That's how intense it is. So we were not prepared to be soaked the way we were. We were not prepared for water to be misted on us like that. But it was really nice. It was really cool to see it. It was really beautiful. We walked around in the forest for a bit. We were going to do a trail, but then my friend got a bit nervous about going through it with it, and so we went back around. But either way, it was still great to see it, looking up at all the trees, just to take it all in. It was all so magical. I wish I could have sat in that forest, in that like little, I don't know if you would call it a park. I guess you would call it a park. I wish I was in that area for at least an hour. Just looking at the trees would have been amazing. That's yeah, but it's okay though, because on the car rides to all the places, you got to see the trees everywhere. So on the car ride, I would look out and see I would see the city, I would see the trees, and it would just blow my mind that I'm like, wow, just up the coast, you get all this beautiful outdoor vibes, beautiful, beautiful scenery, and the people are pretty friendly, I would say. And they drive so much better than the people in California. They drive so much better. I drove the first day and the second day. The first day, yeah, the first day when I driving from the airport to our Airbnb, I was smooth. I was grooving. I was driving. I was like driving this Buick Encore 2021 in style. I was like, who is she? I felt good in the Buick. I felt good behind the wheel. And just driving, it just felt like I was driving in a forest. So I was like, this couldn't be better. Like, I couldn't be more relaxed. I couldn't feel more comfortable behind the wheel than I could right now. Like, I could never feel as comfortable back home. And the drivers out in Washington, like the way they drive was so much better. There's actual spaces in between cars, so if you have to sudden brake, there's not a chance that you're gonna rear end the person in front of you, or you're gonna crash, because you have the proper amount of space to smash on your brakes if you need to. So that made me feel good, and it seems like pretty much everyone followed the speed limit, or if you did follow the speed limit, no one would like cut you off in a mean way like they would in California. No, they would realize, oh, this person's going the speed limit, and then they would just kindly put their blinker on, move into the next lane, and then just move right in front of you. And I'm like, wow, now that is nice. Now that is my kind of people. Because like I hate when people cut me off because I'm going the speed limit. I'm like, hey now, this is a rental. I'm not quite entirely familiar with your city, so until I get a little bit more comfortable with the vehicle, with where I'm at, I'm gonna go with the speed limit. I could be worse and I could be going under the speed limit, but no, I'm going respectfully. I'm going either the speed limit or like 2 miles above the speed limit was my max. Either I wouldn't allow myself to go lower than the speed limit, because I was like, if I go lower, no, I can't. But then when we were driving to downtown Seattle, and I realized downtown Seattle was like driving in downtown LA, I started to slowly feel overwhelmed. And well, folks, things did not go quite well after that for me. No, they did not. I ended up kind of panicking behind the wheel. And, it was fine though, we pulled over, had to deal with whatever was happening with me, because I was like, I'm getting overwhelmed and I don't quite know what's gonna happen, but I hope that, I could calm myself down and relax, and, so that's what I did, and I knew too that once I got out of the car, I would feel 100 times better, and I did. So so that's exactly why when I was like starting to feel overwhelmed, I was like, I just gotta park the car and get out, just because it's the anxiety of being in the car is what gets me. But anyway, so after that, I was like, yeah, I can't drive in downtown Seattle. So my friend had to drive in downtown after that. But I did drive us to Tweed's Cafe because it was on the freeway and it wasn't going to be in the city. And because I was remembering what the town looks like that they filmed for Twin Peaks, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's definitely a town I could drive in, at least just to get to the cafe. And that's exactly what I did. Once we arrived at the cafe, after we left the cafe, I let my friend drive to the waterfall and everywhere else after that, because I was like, yeah, anything more, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't want I don't want anything bad to go down. So I just let my friend drive, and then I ended up, of course, having to drive the car back to the airport because it was under my name. And so in case someone was going to talk to us, we didn't want to cause a ruckus or a kerfuffle. But anyways, that was my time in Seattle. I had a really great time. We did other stuff. We definitely did other stuff. Oh, saw the gum wall. That was cool. I really liked the gum wall, although my friend was very much disgusted by it. And then we went into a store that was a museum, but for your wallet. And by that, I mean it was just a museum full of an artist's sculptures, and the artist used like mammoth's tusk and like other like bones of like extinct species to make sculptures, and it was pretty wild to see all the things, and you got to touch all the things. My friend didn't really like the shop, however, I was very fascinated with the shop. So when the lady told me you could touch stuff, I was touching stuff. I was having a real good time. And yeah, and then, but other than that, I can't quite remember. Oh, we ate at Bob's Burgers. On the first day we got there, we ate at Bob's Burgers. No, not the Bob's Burgers you're thinking of. But either way, I did want to eat there just because of the name. Well, we chose it because it was like the closest location to our Airbnb that happened to have hamburgers, and I guess you would say, I think it would say be Asian food. I'm not quite sure, but I don't know, Korean barbecue, like Korean barbecue and hamburgers, I think was like the vibe, and I was really here for it. Like I almost got what my friend had gotten, but I ended up getting a burger, and my burger was really good. I got a bacon burger. It smacked. It was really good. Their fries were also pretty decent. Bob's Burgers, 10 out of 10. I would recommend in SeaTac, Washington. Good times, good place. And that was my trip to Seattle, We were only in there for 3 days, but however, it rained every day except for the day we went to Tweed's Cafe. And since we knew Tweed's Cafe was more in like a foresty area, since there was a waterfall nearby, we decided that it would be best to go there when it's not raining, because if it was raining, you probably wouldn't be able to go see the waterfall or do much else. So we decided, oh, well, we could just go back downtown Seattle if it rains, or do stuff in downtown Seattle, which we did. Oh, now I'm starting to remember other stuff we did. We went to this store called Archie McPhee. It's just like a novelty store. Honestly, it reminded me of my friend's place of work. It's called Party Warehouse. Archie McPhee just reminded me of a nicer version of Party Warehouse. And I have to tell my friend Charles that. I have to tell him because I think he would find that terrifying. But it was really cool. I had a really nice time. It was the one store I actually wanted to visit in Seattle. And I was a little disappointed though. I was a little disappointed because I thought it was going to be bigger. I thought it was going to have a lot more cooler things, because all the videos and all the pictures that I did see, the people made it seem like the store you want to go to. They made it seem like my kind of store, and I don't know if it's because like the pandemic, if that affected like a lot of the things. It was still cool. I still enjoyed it. I'm still glad I went. However, though, I thought I was gonna end up buying something out of that store, and then I ended up not getting anything from the store, and I was a little bit sad about that, because I was like, ooh, I'm gonna get so many things, it's gonna have so much stuff I like, and then I came out with nothing. But It's okay. I'm still glad I got to see it. I got to witness it. It was a great time. And then we went to the REI flagship store. It was a 2-story REI and it had rock climbing in it. It had a rock climbing wall and I wanted to do it so badly, but then my friend was like, no, or but it's fine. I don't even think it was open anyways. And I mean I just love to rock climb. Rock climbing is my jam. I love rock climbing. If I could rock climb every day, I absolutely would. If I knew where there was a place to rock climb, I would be there right now. I would probably be so fit if I could rock climb. Like, I would just be rock climbing for hours, if I'm being honest. Like, just the thrill. I could go up rock climbing walls so fast, I'm like a spider. I feel like Spider-Man. That's why I like rock climbing, because it just feels like I'm flying, like the speed that I'm going. It's just such a good time. But anyways, we didn't really look around too much around the REI though. Even though it was 2 stories, it wasn't all that exciting. I thought it had a lot more to offer, but it was really just 2 stories of a whole lot more of like, it basically felt like I was back at Bass Pro Shop. Yeah, it just felt like I was back at Bass Pro Shop, and it just felt like a giant, yeah, it just didn't feel like anything grand or anything different from any other REIs I've been to. It just felt like 2 stories and they just had more space for clothes and to display other stuff. They did have, don't get me wrong though, because they did have like other sections that, well, no, I think I have. Just kidding. No, yeah, it was just it was just an ordinary REI just expanded with 2 floors, so it was just like all the sections that they have in the stores. They were all just bigger and they had more options. However, though, they didn't have as many options as you would think. And because you had to park everywhere you went in Seattle, even though the REI did have parking, you only had, I think, like an hour or two. The first like 2 hours were free. After that, you had to like buy something to like validate your parking, or you had to pay for parking on your way out, which was just insane. Can you believe that? It was just insane. So imagine you're going to the REI and then you spend more than 2 hours there and then you end up not getting nothing. You have to pay for your parking. And I'm just like, wow, REI, do you guys not make enough? Do you not make enough that you have to charge us for your parking? Or is it that you decided to make a 2-story giant REI store and you didn't need all the space that you have? What is it, REI? But anyways, yeah. And then other than those stores, we also went at Pike Place Market. There was the waterfront, like, was now around there, the pier. So we walked around there. I got to see the view. We didn't go on the Ferris wheel, but I got to see the Ferris wheel like from a distance, from a nice view from Pike Place Market, from like where you can, where they have like the park area kind of close to the water where you could see the Ferris wheel. I got a nice view from it. Then I got to also see it up close and walk past the Ferris wheel when we were on the pier. And it was just a really good time. Even though it was freezing, it was cold, and my bones and my foot hurt, I still had a really, really good time in Seattle. And I would love to go back, and I can't wait to go back in the springtime again with my family. And I think I'm going to have an amazing time there. I will hopefully be able to do a lot more things because it won't be as cold. And if it will be cold, hopefully it won't be too cold so my bones don't hurt and I don't hold us back again like I did this trip. But other than that, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me talk about my trip to Seattle. I know I had a great time. I hope you had a good time listening to me ramble about my day and about my trip. My day may have not been okay, but now after Tea Money Talks, I'm feeling pretty good. And I'm just like, I should have recorded Tea Money Talks instead of recording vocals, because my day would have gone so much better. I would have recorded Tea Money Talks in the morning. I would have felt good. I would have had some lunch after, and then I would have edited Tea Money Talks tonight, and then I would have been free tomorrow to do nothing but relax or make some TikToks or rollerblade. But no, now tomorrow I will be spending tomorrow editing my podcast. Although it's not going to take a long time. I know it's not going to take a long time. I'm just like, Dang. But it's okay though. It's also okay because it's only this is the only time I'm doing it on a Monday. After today, it'll be back to my regularly scheduled Thursday or Sunday night recordings and then editing on Mondays. So I just have to remind myself that everything's gonna be okay and I don't have to stress out, because if I stress out, I make my brain go insane, and it's not okay to make my brain go insane. I gotta feel things, I gotta let my brain rest, and everything's gonna be alright. And if you're not doing okay, I want you to know that everything's gonna be okay. But anyways, I think that is it for this week's episode, guys. I don't know what else to say, because honestly, if I keep talking at that point, it's just me stalling. It's just me rambling. It's just me trying to get more time, because I know there were a lot of pauses and a lot of stuff that I gotta edit out myself. And I know tomorrow's T-Money is gonna be kind of upset with current T-Money, with me T-Money, so I do apologize, T-Money. But you know what? Respect. I love you. You're doing great. And with that, I will conclude this podcast. Until next week, guys. This is T-Money saying live your life, because you are the only one who get it. All right. Bye.